So far I have covered introduction to JEE, Servlet and Java. Okay, now what is JEE? It's a platform for writing server-side applications. And what is Servlet? It is a web-based technology. Means it's a technology used for developing what? Web-based applications. Finally we saw Java also. Java is what? A programming language. So this we have learned theoretically. Now let's start seeing it practically. Okay, so what I'll do right now is I'll develop a web application. After developing the web application, I'll develop a simple web application. See, this is the web application, what we'll be developing now. So we'll be seeing the practicals now. So here, we'll be developing an application by name, My App. This is going to be a web application. Done? So you can give a name to your application, like how you have names Yahoo, Rediff, Gmail, whatever it is, you can give some name like that. So generally I'm giving it as My App. So fine. So once you develop your web application, next what are you going to do? You're going to put it in a server only. So yes, that's what you're going to do now. So I'll be putting my application into one server. And this server is going to be called as a JEE server. Okay. The example means which JEE server we'll be using now is Tomcat from the company Apache. So we'll be doing this. So you're going to do it, develop it and put it into the server. Next, after you put your application into the server, next what you're going to do is make the request from the browser. Okay, your browser will make the request now and your application will give back the response. We're telling what? Hello world. A very simple requirement I have given now. So we are going to develop this kind of a web application. A very simple requirement. Okay, so this would be the request and this would be the response. So you got my requirement now. You got my requirement of web application. Just our web application should print now what? Hello world. It's a simple one. Later on you start making it bigger and bigger. So fine. So to develop this application now, what are you going to do now? Hardly in Java, if you want to develop your web application, you just need only 2 files. That's it. Your web application will be ready now. Just if you code 2 files, your web application will be ready now. One is the Java file and the other one will be the XML file. Only 2 files are required. Done. So write these 2 files, put it into your application, put the application into the server, finished. Your web application is over. Why? The reason is you are getting the rich platform from whom now? Like see, when you are developing a web application, there are 2 things required. One, you have to write the domain logic. One, you have to write the infrastructure code. So what we are trying to see now is the JEE server gives you what? The full infrastructure code required for developing what? Any web application. Like your web applications require what? What is the support you require for your web application? Input, output, networking. Okay, all this will come built into you. Where? In the JEE server. So you get the built-in support. So this is the whole idea now. So now let's see how to write these 2 files now. The Java file and this is the resource now and the XML file. So let's see how do you write it now. So you know how to write a Java file. So we are going to start off coding now. This will be a program. So I'll write public class for Servlet. Okay, so this is the name of a class. You can give any name. Public class for Servlet. You can give any name to this. It's a simple Java class. But see, when you're writing class names here, using Servlet means I'm giving a suffix first. Servlet. I'm giving it as a suffix. Okay, that's only on convention what we follow worldwide, internationally. This is a convention what we follow. See, till now you have written simple classes like this. Class hello, class first. You have written classes like this. Okay, but the thing is, if you look at this class names, it looks like a simple class. But if I add a suffix to it, it provides still more lot of meaning. Means it makes it self-explanatory. Like this is a Servlet. Now Servlet means what? It's a Java program which will be executed on server side. So only to make it self-explanatory, we follow one international convention. So this is the convention we follow. So end of the day, what did I do now? I just wrote one class called as first Servlet, and the rule for writing a Servlet is extends HTTP Servlet. Now you have to extend one class. So what we are doing here, we are doing inheritance. We are doing inheritance and we are inheriting one class called as HTTP Servlet. So more things I told you in the last class. Whenever you want to write a web application, understood? You have to use one API called as Servlet API. Servlet API is what? It's the specification sent by Sun for what? Writing web applications. Yes. So let's see the Servlet API now. Last class I had given the introduction about all these classes and interfaces present in what? Servlet API. Some of the classes and interfaces present in Servlet API are HTTP Servlet. Right now I am using it. 2. HTTP Servlet request. Like that, many classes and interfaces are there. Third one, HTTP Servlet response. 4. HTTP session. 5. Servlet config. 6. Servlet context. And lastly, request dispatcher. See, these are the main classes and interfaces which are present in the Servlet API. Please understand that. These are the main important ones. Okay, even if you go for any interview, or if you go write your even a CWCD exam, whatever it is, these are the main things what are required. If you know the 6 to 7 classes and interfaces, you can easily develop your web application. A complete big web application also you can develop. It's very simple it is. So here among this is a class, rest all are interfaces. So they have made development of web application very easy now. And all these classes and interfaces have been put in a package called as javax.servlet.http. So this is where they are stored now. So end of the day, what we are trying to do now, to write a web application, we are using the support of library again. Understood? So here these are all interfaces. Okay. So who is giving these interfaces? Sun. Okay. So see, why did the Sun give interfaces here? Very simple reason. So interfaces do not contain any implementation. They contain only abstract methods. So Sun is setting the standard by using interfaces to all the server vendors. We know that server vendor story now. What is the story here? We got the supreme person called as Sun. What do? They set the Servlet specification, Servlet API. Now this API is going to be learned. That's what we are doing. We are learning this API. Yes or no? It's a triangle. So one is the server vendor. They are also learning. 2 is what? We application developers. Both of us are learning. Done? So both of us will learn the same thing we are going to learn. See how we are learning how to use them. Understood? At the other side, vendors are learning how to implement them. How to means they are giving the body for all the abstract methods. They are implementing it. So both of us learn. What do we application developers do finally? We learn and put that code into we write our code, and after writing the code, we put it into the server now. Means we use it. So it will get executed now. So this is the story of the Servlet API here. So this is what we are going to learn now. If you know this, you can easily develop any big application now. So simple. So when this is the story here, so that's what I am doing. What I am doing now, public class first Servlet is extending now what? HTTP Servlet. Getting it now? So this is how we start exploring it now. So fine, next. Even these implementations I showed you, this is done by whom now? These are interfaces now. It is implemented by whom now? Even Tomcat people. Apache company is implementing it and supplying it with the product called as Tomcat. And I showed you the implementation. It is there in what? Lib. Servlet API.jar is there now. So Servlet API.jar is containing the implementation of all these interfaces. In Tomcat, this has been implemented and supplied with the Servlet API.jar file. Like this, all the vendors will be implementing it. Last class I had shown you in the lib folder. Clear? Fine, next. So now we are using that. Let's continue coding now. So we'll start seeing now how to use all these classes and interfaces to code. So here in this class, I'm having one method called as doGet HTTP Servlet request. Next, REQ, comma, HTTP Servlet response. RES, this is the method what I am writing now, and this method throws 2 exceptions. One is Servlet exception and the other would be IO exception. So carefully notice now, I am using the Servlet API to code. Carefully see this. See, doGet is a method. HTTP Servlet and request are what? HTTP Servlet response are what? Parameters. Technically if you say they are simple, they are parameters. See, these 2 are parameters of doGet method, and this method is throwing what? 2 exception, Servlet exception and IO exception. Now what is REQ? REQ is a variable of type HTTP Servlet request. RES is a variable of type HTTP Servlet response. Very simple story now. So we started using it now. Clear? So now, see, I had given you my requirement. I had given you my requirement of what? My application when the request comes should print what? Hello world. Very simple requirement we are doing. So for doing that, let's start using this. We'll start calling the methods now. The implementation is already done. By whom now? Serve vendors. So see this now. I'll start calling the methods. So I'll say now first one, response dot set content type. And here I'll say text slash HTML. So this is my first line. So let's understand this line again. See, RES is a variable of type HTTP servlet response. Set content type is a method which is present where? In the HTTP servlet response. Okay, and I'm passing an argument of type string. So from Java point of view, you should understand only this much. Okay, but what is what exactly this method does? That I'll tell you now. From Java point of view, you're just calling a method. So basically, as a programmer, you should go on understanding. You are calling a method, passing an argument of type string and all that. What that method is going to do, what logic it contains and all that, that I'll be telling to you. So this is what I'm going to explain to you now. Clear? Shall I clear this now? Fine. Let's see this now. See, we have a requirement now. What's the requirement? The client is going to make a request and you should get back a response telling hello world. That's it. It's a very simple output what we want. It's a simple HTML output. But many times you have browsed through what? Gmail, Yahoo, Rediff and all that. So many times these applications, sometimes they give you what? Doc files, PDF files, image files. Okay. So what type of a response you want to give to your client, that has to be mentioned here. Whatever type you want to give. Understood? So in fact, this is called as header information to the client. The server will be giving this as header information to the client. It will tell like I'm giving a HTML like that. So like this more you'll be saying, but more about all that I'll be telling later. Right now we are going with only what? Text slash HTML, and in fact technically it is called as what? MIME. The full form of MIME is multipurpose internet mail extension. That's the full form. These are all called as MIME type. One of the example for MIME type is text slash HTML. Like that you have got more MIME types. Like example, if you want to display, means give the client a word file, doc file. So I'll write it as what? Application slash word. This is also one more MIME type. So it all depends on the response you want to give to the client. Then more, you got application slash PDF. And if it is an image you want to give, so it will be img slash GIF. Still more are there, MIME type. If you want to give a video, so it will be like video slash MPEG. So these are all different MIME types which are already predefined and available. So which one you want to give the response, like still more are there. I've just given you some few examples. So I'm using this MIME type here, simple, and I'm providing the value as string. That's it. So done. So then this is the, means you're just giving a simple HTML output. That's the reason I'm saying text slash HTML. Fine. Then next to do the output, what I'll be doing is I'll be using the class called as print writer. Print writer PW is equal to response dot get writer. So what is get writer now? It is a method present where? See, from Java point of view, start understanding. Get writer is a method present where now? HTTP servlet response. The return type of that method is print writer. If you call that method, it will return you that. Now next you have to do the output. That's it. Your web application is only over. You have to do the output. What is the output I want to print? Hello world. Okay. So I told you one point actually. When you are writing a servlet, your servlet will contain two types of logic. One is the Java code it will contain, other one is the HTML code. So HTML code is always used for what? Presentation. So generally if you want to do some output now in servlet, we will be using the HTML now. So let's start doing our output with the help of what? HTML. So start writing your HTML code and do the output. But the HTML code you'll be writing like this now. pw dot print ln. Like this you start writing. Write your normal HTML code. How you write your HTML code? Write it normally like that. pw dot print ln. Like this. Body. Sorry. PG color is equal to, see, many times what you'll be doing is you'll be writing HTML. Till now you're written HTML files separately, but now what happens is we'll start writing HTML code in Java files. So whenever you're writing HTML code in Java file, you should follow one rule here. Because see, when you're writing HTML code, you'll be giving values to the attributes. Okay, you'll be giving values to attributes. Now BG color is an attribute of what? Body tag. So you have to give a value. We generally give the values in double quotes. Understood? But when you're writing HTML code in Java files, you should always use single quote, otherwise you'll get errors. I show you that error while coding. Okay, but remember this. BG color is equal to pink. Understood? So close the body. Fine. Next, I'll clear all this, just a second. So fine, let's continue coding now. pw.println. So I want to print what now? Hello world. That's it. So pw.println hello world. That's it. Your code is ready now. Close these tags. So your code is ready. Fine. So I told you have to just write 2 files, and if you write 2 files, your web application is only over. Fine, coding you are done. The first file has been done. Which one? Java file. Now this file you cannot save it wherever you want. There are some strict rules you have to follow now. There are some strict rules you have to follow while saving these files now. So I'll clear this. These are the 2 files. Just I need space here. See, I'll give you a folder structure now. This folder structure is very strict, and it is highly mandatory that you have to follow this folder structure only while writing your web application. It's highly mandatory. So let's see at the folder structure now. The folder structure will be this. So you're having my app, fine, that is okay. So inside my app you have one more folder now called as web-inf. -inf it is. So remember, it is hyphen. It is not underscore. Don't use underscore. This is very strict. So the next thing is, inside web-inf you'll have one more folder called as classes, and here you'll have one more folder called as lib, and lastly you'll have one file, that is web.xml. This is a folder structure. It's highly mandatory to follow this folder structure. Done? So fine. Next, what does the classes contain now? What does the classes folder contain? Very simple. The classes folder is going to contain star.class files. Okay. Now what is the lib going to contain? Star.jar files. So it's very clearly told now. Okay. Like you have to use these folder structures only, this particular folder structure only, and in this folder structure, okay, while saving your files, you have to save all your .class files in classes only, .jar in lib only, like that. Now example. See, first select is there now. When you compile it, automatically what happens? Dot class gets generated. It's highly mandatory that you should save all your Java files here. Are you clear? The first select will be kept here now. Next, what is this lib folder? See, your application now, when you're writing your web applications, you'll be needing a lot of support. Like you'll be needing JDBC and all that. But when you want to use JDBC, obviously you'll need what? One jar file. For JDBC14.jar and all that. So that kind of jar file, you'll be placing it where now? OJDBC.jar and all, you'll be putting it in lib folder. Like whatever jars are required for your project, you'll be in understanding that many jars will be needed for your project. So whatever jars are required for your project, all will be put into lib folder now. So this is the folder structure. You have to. It's highly strict and mandatory. You have to use this now. Now you might question why it is so strict and mandatory. If you have that question, next. Understood? See, these rules are not made by me and you. These rules is being made by whom now? Sun specification. It is Sun who is telling this. You have to use this folder structure for developing your web application. That's what they are telling. Means the idea is what you know. See, when the Sun sets the specification. Remember this triangle I told you. Okay, Sun is setting the specification, and vendor is there, server vendor, and we are developers are there. So when they set the specification, they are telling you have to use this folder structure only now. So both of us are learning. Who? Developer also will be learning this folder structure, as well as vendor also will be learning this folder structure. So now what we do now, we will write our code using this folder structure, and this folder structure or this application, now we'll put it into the server. So now what are the server people doing? Server people will execute our code searching in this folders only. They are already written code. So this is a standard we follow here. Okay. See, in the last class I told you one thing. Earlier, for writing web applications, we had lot of support from what? Various other vendors, proprietary solutions I told you. What is that? Like ABC server. Okay, he'll give his own API, and he'll tell use my standard and write the code. Use my API. So next, PQR server. He'll have his own standard and he'll give his own interfaces. Now that is again XYZ server. He'll give his own API and you have to write the code and use this. Means you have to learn various standards. Whichever server you want to learn. Okay, means whenever you want to write a web application, you have to learn so many standards and all that. It was a big confusion for the developer. So that is the reason what did Sun do? They said, you don't learn so many standards, you don't learn so many APIs. End of the day, see, I want to write a web application. For getting this output only, many vendors were giving many solutions. So now what did Sun do is, they made a standard. Okay, they set the standard, like we will be writing the code using Servlet API. So after writing the code, this is the folder structure you have to use. So like this, Sun made the specification, and this is the specification of Servlet technology now. So once it is done, now it is easy for us. What do we do now? We learn this, and once after learning this, you can write your code and put it into what now? Any server you want. Right now we are using Tomcat. You can use even JBoss or WebLogic or WebSphere, any server you want, you can use and write your code. This is the standard now. Okay, so once you write your code, you can put it into any JEE server. So this is the whole idea. So the benefit what we are getting today is, there is one standard we are following to write our web applications. There is only one single standard what we are following. Great. So this has happened now. So that is why it is very strict. Why this folder structure is so strict means, because it is a specification set by Sun now. Done. So see, if you do not follow this folder structure, what might happen? One is you will not get the output. You will never get it. That is one part. Second part is, okay, if you go to interview also, this is one important question. If you write SCWCD exam also, this is one very important question. So everywhere it becomes important, starting from output to wherever you go. Okay, this is highly means you have to know this folder structure while writing your web application. So this is the folder structure now. So here, yes, we wrote our class and we are following the rules now. I saved my files into this particular folder structure. Everything is done. So now, if you put your application into the server, it will start executing now. Everything is fine. So for executing now, what you'll be doing now? You'll be typing on URL, simple URL. What you'll type now? http://localhost:8090/myapp/ you'll type first Servlet. This is the resource. In your application, first Servlet is on file or on resource. So this is how you have to type now. HTTP, now clear for understand. You are written, you see, I will write it and put it into the server. Now after writing and putting it into the server, the users, okay, they'll start accessing your application. So this is the URL they'll be typing. Okay, what? Localhost means look in the same computer. 8090 means it will get connect in the same computer, it will connect to port number 8090. But in port number 8090, what is running? Tomcat is running. So it will go to Tomcat server. There, in that server, it will go to my app. Once it goes to my app, it will execute what now? First Servlet. So you get the output. So this is the URL the user will be typing. It's simple and clear. But the thing is, what happens here? See, I'll tell you one problem. You are telling the user to type this class name. Okay, that's what means. This is a resource. That's why I ask him to type it. But there is one problem here. See, the user finds it very difficult to remember complicated names like this. It is first Servlet, okay. That is okay. But sometimes your class names will be very big. Like example, okay, this class name. Customer wants to open an account Servlet. Customer wants to close an account Servlet. They become very lengthy. So when they are so lengthy, the user finds it very difficult to type that lengthy URLs. And if it doesn't type it properly, if you make a mistake in typing your URL, what will happen? You will not get the output only. Like www.gmail.com. Only if you type the correct spelling only, you will get the output. Otherwise, what will happen? You will never get the output. Response you will never get. So it's highly mandatory that you should not make any spelling mistake. But there are so many amateurs, okay, and they don't know how to type this big URL and all. That is one problem what we are facing. Okay, means we should always give one simple name to the user, like hello or something like that. If you tell him to type hello, he can type it very easily, rather than typing what? First Servlet, second Servlet, or customer wants to open Servlet. Instead of typing such big names, you ask him to type hello, it will be very easy for him. That is a problem. Okay, so one problem is that. Second problem what you are doing is, see, if you ask the user to type the name of the class, in fact it is security problem. You are exposing the name of your class to what? The user. You are exposing the name of your class to the user. That is not good. So we are having two major problems here. One is you are asking to type the complicated words and all that. Two is you are exposing the name of your files, which is a security problem. So to avoid both of them, okay, what we do is we can give some good name like hello or something. Finally what I want to do is, I don't want the user to type the name of the class. I want to type means I'll ask him to type some simple name like, say this, http://localhost:8090/myapp/hello. This would be much better as compared to this one, no? This would be much better as compared to this one. So fine, we can do this. This is what we'll be finally doing now. Why? Because of the two problems what we are facing. One is security problem and two is the complicated word which the user finds it very difficult to type. So yes, so the user will type hello now. But when he types hello, what should get executed now? First Servlet should get executed. So you see the mismatch now. If he is typing hello, which resource you want to execute? First Servlet. That's the problem. Means that is what you have to solve now. Yes. So now this problem can be overcome. Okay. We'll be doing it now. So for that what you'll do? You'll do some mapping. What mapping you'll do? If the request comes as hello, you execute first Servlet. You have to do some mapping. That's it. And for doing that mapping only, we use the other file. Which one? XML file. So there are two files you have to code. I told you, no? One is Java file which contains the code. Understood? Your logic. The other one will be XML file which contains the mapping information. Clear this? So I'll be showing you now how to write the XML file. So now we are completed on file now. So the next file I'll be writing now is XML file. Clear? Shall I clear all this now? You understood the reason why I'm writing the XML file? Only for us to solve the mapping problem. Okay. So fine. See this URL, I'll clear it here. I'll write it there now. So this URL the user will be typing now where? Here in the browser for making a request to your application. http://localhost:/myapp/hello. This is the URL he'll be typing now. Fine. Now let's see this. So now I'll start explaining you the XML file, how to write it. See, your name of the XML file should be compulsory web.xml file. Compulsory it is. It should be compulsory web.xml file only. Okay, XML is one type of file, but the name of that should be web.xml. Highly mandatory it is. Fine. So now first let me explain you what is XML file. First let me explain you what is XML file. See, XML is also one more language actually. Okay, the full form of XML would be, I'll write it here. The full form of XML would be extensible markup language. That's the full form. If you want full form. See, this itself is on big language. We are not here to learn XML language. But how much of XML is required for programming? That much I'll cover for you. Understood? So the entire syllabus of XML is also there in our later syllabus. That time you can learn XML. That is a different story. But right now what I'll be covering is how much of XML knowledge is required for writing our web application. That much I'll cover. That is more than sufficient for you. So what is XML file? Why do you use it? Are you getting now how it is coming up? XML? EX, E is small. We write like that. XML, XML. Clear? So fine. Now first thing, basic what you have to understand is, if it is a markup language, obviously what it will have? Tags. It will have tags, attribute, value. That basic first you understand. So if you know how to work with HTML, means tag, attribute, values, same way you can work with what? XML, because here also I got some tags, attributes, value. Same story here also. Some new set of tags you'll learn. That is one part. Second thing, why do you use an XML file? The question is that. See, always remember, this is a very important question. It is used for metadata programming. Remember this. It is used for metadata programming. Now if you ask me what is metadata programming, okay, if you ask me what is metadata programming, it is, see this metadata, meta is a Greek word it is, means information. Information, the meaning of meta is information. Information about some data, that's what it is. So here metadata means you are going to provide some information. What information are you going to provide? Mapping information. So here, see, XML file is used for metadata programming, remember that point? And it contains what? Mapping information. This is the very, very important interview question, and remember this. Why do you use XML file and what it contains? Clear? It contains mapping information. Fine. So this much of XML knowledge is more than sufficient for you. One is it is a markup language. Second thing is it is used for metadata programming. Third thing is it contains mapping information. Fine. So having this much of knowledge, let's start writing our web.xml file. See this. So here, whenever you know, in all markup languages you have tags, and you'll have a root tag here called as web app. This is the root tag. The root tag in web.xml is web app. Next, so it is having some child tags. One of the child tag what you got here is servlet. This is the child tag of what now? Web app. Done. So inside this, one second. Inside a servlet tag, again, there are two more child tags. The name of that child tag would be servlet name. Okay, one more tag would be servlet class. Close servlet. Any tags you open, you should close here. It is very strict. It's not like HTML. It is not like HTML. In HTML, what happens? Any tag you open and leave unclosed, it will work. But here, any tag you open and don't close it, you'll get errors only. It will not allow you only. So XML is very, very strict. Any tag you open, you have to close it. So I'll start closing all the tags now. So one more would be servlet name. Try to close. 1 second. Servlet class. All the tags you have to close. Fine. Now, again one more tag I'll open now called as servlet mapping. And in this you have got one more child tag called as servlet name. Close servlet name. Okay, any tag you open you have to close, sorry. Servlet name. URL pattern. Close URL pattern. So these are all the tags you have to understand now. And do not forget that we are writing this XML for what purpose? Only for one reason. Mapping purpose, nothing else. It only contains some information or information. Like if the request comes as hello, okay, we have to execute first servlet. That's what is metadata. You are giving information about something like you are giving the information of first servlet. If the request comes as hello, it should execute what? First. Means if the request comes as hello, it should execute first servlet. So this is your XML file now. So I'll clear all this, what is not required. Only code I'll maintain here. Okay. See, this is finally what your code is going to be now. So web app. So here you have to provide the values now. What values? See here, URL pattern. The URL pattern here, you have to give the value. 1 second. I'll come to URL pattern in a while. So now let's start off. See, I have servlet class. You're in the web.xml, you have to give the values now. See, this is the place where you're going to give the value now. You'll be giving the value to some tags here. So here, first I give the value for servlet class. See, what is the name of my class? First servlet. So it is that name you have to give here. Fine. But generally we keep our classes in packages. Like example, package com.cluster. We generally keep all our classes in package now. So you have to give that name here now. But you have to give fully qualified class names. Fully qualified class names means what? Package name along with class name. Fully qualified class name you have to give. Means here you have to write. What do you have to write? com.cluster. I don't have space here. Just a second. I'll clear it and write it again. com.cluster. First servlet. And you have to close the tag. I don't have space, but I'll be showing you while coding. Write it fully. com.cluster. First servlet. So that is the value you have to give to what? Servlet class tag. See, servlet class is a tag. For that I provided this particular value. Now, see, this class is having a very big name. Generally even we have very big names. Yes or no? Like example, Ravi Kumar Hadagali. It's a big name. So people call me in short as Ravi. So like that, even this class is having a very big name. What we can do is we can give some simple names so that it will be easy for us to use. So you can give any name, but what I'll do is I'll give a name called as ABC. Any name you want, you can give. So I have given the name to com.cluster.firstServlet as what now? ABC. Fine. So you have given the name now. So this is done. So now let's come to the mapping. So the user is typing that URL now. What is the URL is going to type? http://localhost 8090 myapp/hello. That's the URL he'll be typing now. So he's going to type that URL. See, that is the URL pattern. You have to put it here now. That value. Which one? Hello value you have to put here. Understood? So if the request comes as hello, it should execute what now? Servlet by name ABC. That's how the mapping will go now. So the URL pattern is hello, it should execute the servlet by name ABC. Now clearly understand. Okay, URL pattern is hello. If the request comes, it has to execute the servlet by name ABC. Now name, see here, servlet name. Okay, it will start searching now. Whose servlet is name ABC? This one. So now it will start executing com.cluster.firstServlet. That's it. You will get the output now. Understood? So here, if you write your application like this, means if you write these two files, save these two files in this two folder and put your application into the server, type the URL, make the request, you'll get the output. So simple now. You have developed your web application. It is so simple to develop your web application. Okay, so that because of Sun's standard. Now what has happened here? That you have to understand. Very clearly understand. See, client is making the request and this is first servlet. FS is the first servlet which is there in my app. When the client makes the request, the mapping will happen now. Hello, name, class will be identified, and the first servlet, see the object of the class, first servlet dot class, okay, that will be identified now. So the object of that class will be created and now it will start executing. Okay, so once it starts executing, say this now. So it is going to execute all this code now. Now we start seeing the infrastructure support of the JEE server. The infrastructure. Coding is over now. Now let's understand, it's giving us 3 support now. Input, output, networking, as well as communication. All is built in now. We don't have to worry. I'm not even writing one single line of code for what? All these 3 things. What 3 things? Input, output, networking, communication. Nothing I'm writing. See how the code will execute now. So as soon as the code is right, means when the request comes, the class will be identified and it will do all this output. So when you are doing the output, see pw.println, this is your code now, first servlet. It will go on executing. So it will be doing the output to the socket. pw.println, it's going to print to socket. Means what is socket now? You have to understand. It's a virtual connection established between the client and server. It's a virtual connection established between the client and server. Means, to make it very clear for you, I'll take an example. Example is, say, you type www.gmail.com. Where is Gmail now? It might be in US or some other country. So once you make the request will go to the application to US. And from there, it is running in on machine. From there, it has to give the output to you. It has to give the output to you. So it's going to give the output to you. It has to write to what? Can the machine in US write to your machine? It is there. It's very far. It cannot write to what? Your machine. Okay. Now how can a computer which is so far off write to your computer? It is not possible. Understood? So that's why what happens is, see, when you make a request to your server, the server will do the output, but it will be writing it to what? Socket. So the pw.println starts printing it to what? To the socket of the server. That is the duty of it. Okay. Now see the content. When I mean to say, the computer in US cannot do the direct output to your computer. It cannot print to your computer. Understood? But instead what they can do is, they can write it to the socket. This entire content, now what will happen is, it will be written to the socket. So once, that is the duty of pw.println. The pw.println is gone now. It will write it to the socket. Once it is written to the socket, next what is going to remain now? On HTML content. On HTML, the entire HTML content is written to the socket of the server. So in the socket you have got an HTML file now. Understood? So from there till the destination, here, this is the destination client. That's one more socket. They are connected. Okay. So like this, the connection will be happening now. So when the response is given to the client, that huge file, now what it will do? It will start moving via network. It cannot print, but it can do like this. It can write the file to the socket, and that file can move from the server to the client via network. Now how it will move now? This is where the TCP/IP comes into picture. This is where the TCP/IP comes into picture. TCP means Transmission Control Protocol, IP means Internet Protocol. Now what will the TCP do? Understand here. So you got a file now. What is this? This is the huge file what you got now, this HTML file. It is present at the socket. Okay. So from here to here, that huge file will be broken into what? Small packets. I keep explaining, last class I explained what is TCP/IP and all that. So that huge file will be broken into small packets. Okay, so TCP is what it's doing. It will break the file into packets, ensures that all the packets are reaching the destination error free, and after reaching the destination what it will do? It will rearrange all the packets into a single unit and hand it over to the client. Okay, and IP ensures that all the packets are reaching the correct destination. So these 2 things will happen now. So once it reaches the destination, now what is the destination? Browser. Now any browser in the world can display what? HTML file. How it will display? It will interpret and display. Whatever code is there now, it will be interpreted and displayed now. So remember, the computer means the server computer cannot print to the client computer. But whatever it has to do the output, it will be doing it to the socket. From the socket till the client, it will be going via packets like this. So this is the whole story here. Are you clear with this? So now what is the advantage now? See, the benefits what you are getting. If you use the JEE server, by default, built in what is the support you are getting? You wrote your file and put it into the server. By default, you are getting what support now? Input, output, networking, communication, all is happening by default to you. What is the reason? That infrastructure support only is given to you by JEE server. So that's what these people are telling loud and clear. What? Servlet technology. You don't bother about the which are infrastructure support. You just concentrate on writing your business logic. This is the idea. Okay, very shortly you start writing the logics. Here we are doing only output. But this is the whole idea now. Everything is ready made. We just have to write the code and put it into the server. And we are for writing the application also what? We are following some standards. Heavy standard is there. Now I have to use this API only, write the code and put it into this folder structure only. Understood? So these are the rules. And these are rules set by Sun now. Everybody has to learn this. Vendor also as well as we developers also. Are you clear with this whole concept now? So what I'll do now is, I'll type this and show it to you now, so that you get a good grip on this subject. So see here, till now I covered theory part of it, all this. So now we are getting more practical. We have to see the output. Only when you see the output, you'll start understanding all these things very, very clearly now. So I'll get this output now. Shall I clear all this now? Right? Okay, fine then. Okay, now, so I cleared everything, but this folder structure what I wrote now is very, very, very important. Okay, so you follow it with me only now. I'll repeat it once again, just follow this. Okay, so what is going to be the name of your folder now? See this, my app. Okay, fine. Inside my app, what will you have now? Remember this, you should never forget in your life. Very important folder structure, because you have to develop a lot of web applications now. You should not forget only this folder structure. Done? My app, then next is WebINF. The next inside WebINF I'll be having what? Classes. Then I'll be having one more folder called as label. Finally I'll be having my web.xml file. So this is the folder structure of web application while deploying. Now deploying means what? In JEE server. Any JEE server you want, you can put now. Deploying means what? The technical, it's a technical word, but simple. If you want the meaning of it, deploying is a process of putting an application into the server. Deploying or hosting, that's it. So very simple. Are you clear with this folder structure now? So if you understood this much, now let's start coding now. Done? So to code now, I'll start using Eclipse. Understood? So last class I told you all the required softwares. So right now I'll be using what? Eclipse and Tomcat. Tomcat installation also has been shown to you. So right now I'll directly start coding on Eclipse now. Okay, so now I'll create a new workspace. Okay, see I'm going to code a lot of Servlet projects now. So what I'm doing is, in D drive I'm having my folder Ravi Kumar. So inside this what you do, means what I'm doing is creating one folder by name Servlet examples. So this I'll make it as my workspace, and here only I'll be creating, means I'll be writing many Servlet projects now. So since I'm writing many Servlet projects, all these examples will be kept in this workspace now. So I'll copy this, I'll open Eclipse, paste it. Okay, I can see .metadata has been created, and you'll get this is the workspace now, and Eclipse will open up now. Fine. So close this, shift to Java. Okay, close all unwanted windows, these windows. Fine. See now, till now you have created simple Java projects. Simple Java projects. How you have created? Right click, new. This is the way I've been creating Java projects. So new Java project, you'll type simple Java app, and you'll say finish. Till now you have done this, and this is how your simple Java project looks. Here means Java projects. It is having just one folder and on SRC and JRE system library. More than that, nothing is there here. Okay. So now these are the contents of what? A simple Java project. So now what I'll do, I'll create my web project. So for creating a web project, we'll take a different approach. So carefully understand how I create a new web project, because this is the first time you're creating it. So understand this properly. So right click, new project. Okay, scroll down and go to web, this one. So in web, select dynamic web project. Select dynamic web project. Then click next. So I'm creating a web project now. So give the name. So we have to give the name as what? My app. But I'll be writing a lot of Servlet projects. So what I'll do, I'll give one suffix, a prefix now called as 01. Number I'll give. 01 my app. Okay, this is the first project in Servlet. And then after giving the name, click next. Again click next. Then you'll get the screen. See, look at this option here, generate web.xml deployments descriptor. It is disabled by default. Select this and click finish now. Now see what happens. Okay, so it'll ask you, this kind of a project is associated with Java EE perspective. Click no. Do you want to open it last? Just click no. So that's it. Your web project has been created. Now look at this. I just extract it now. See this? This is how it looks. Your web project. Okay, this is a web project now. See the difference between a web project and a simple Java project, a Java project. So this is how the simple Java means a normal Java project looks. Okay, and this one would be what? A web project. So this is the difference. Till now you have been creating these kind of projects. So in this project you have got only these two folders, but here you see in web project you are having your folder name, my app. Apart from that, what you are having? SRC, JRE, system library. This is there. Now these are all extra folders which I got created here. Understood? Because Eclipse is creating that. So what is the beauty of Eclipse is, see, we need all those folders. What are folders we need? We need WebINF, see there, classes, lib, all those folders we need. But none of those folders I am creating. All these folders are created by whom now? Eclipse. Eclipse only is creating all those folders for you. See, it's WebINF, lib and all that. It is only creating. Web.xml, everything it is creating. That is the advantage. So that is the advantage of this editor. But if you use Notepad, Edit Plus and all, know that those folders we have to create it explicitly, and we might make errors also in creating what? Folders. Like while typing the folder name, WebINF, you can make the mistake. But here, because of Eclipse, we will not face any kind of such problems. That is the one thing. Now that is okay, it's creating the folders, but it has not created the required folder structure. Which one? Eclipse is not creating the required folder structure. Folders it has created. Fine, not a problem. That folder structure also will be finally, see, that is the folder structure you need while putting your application into the server. That is the folder structure you need while putting your application into the server. But right now Eclipse has created this folder. But don't worry, by the time you put your application into the server, Eclipse will finally create that particular folder structure. I'll show you that. Okay. Now what is this folder structure if you have a question? See, this is the developer's view. When you code big projects now, in fact, developer finds this view more comfortable while coding. Understood? So that's why Eclipse is giving you a developer's view. This is one coding friendly view. What this folder structure Eclipse is creating now, it is on coding friendly view. But finally when your application goes into the server, definitely it will be having that particular folder structure. So you do not have to worry about that. So leave that now. So it will be doing it. You'll be seeing that also. So now what I'll do is, I'll delete this Java project. The simple Java project what I created, I'll delete it because it's not required for us. Just I showed you the difference between what is a normal Java project and a web project. Just I showed you the difference. So now let's start coding now. Yeah. So see this. So how do you code now? So go to src, create one package now. New package you do com.cluster. Com.cluster is the package name. So say finish. So your package has been created. Next what you have to do? You have to write your class. So what is the name of your class? Right click new class, rst first servlet. You can write it. First servlet, then say finish. So the class also is going to be created. Just I'll increase the font size now. Just see this. Window preferences. Fine. So I just change the font size so that it will be visible for you. So public class first servlet. I have to write what now? This is how you code now. Extends HTTP servlet. See, I'm not coding this to show you output. Please understand how you get errors and resolve the errors. Coding is simple, hardly you're writing two files there. But see how you go on getting the errors and how I'll resolve this. Concentrate on that now. See here I'm writing this, and till now how you have resolved the errors when you get like this? By doing controls, means you are importing. So I'll try to do the same. End of the day here, first servlet is extending HTTP servlet and I want to use HTTP servlet now. But I have to import it now. So what will I do now? I'll say control space. I'm not getting any drop down option also, neither it's getting imported. So what to do now? Yes, we need this class. End of the day I need that class which is there in the Java's library. Okay. So what to do now? Let's check whether it is there in the, means where it is actually. It's present in the package called as javax.servlet.htdp package. So let's see whether that package is present in rt.jar. See here, I'll go to JRE system library and I'll extract rt.jar. See here, there are so many packages, but you will not find, I'm scrolling down now, you'll never find javax.servlet.htdp. You have used other packages, which one? java.lang, util, all this you have used. Okay, lang, util and all you have used, but you will not find here javax.servlet. This package. Now where is this package and where is this package now? Sorry, where is that package? Yes, where do you find this class now? It is present in servlet.api.jar. Okay, so see, the sun set the specification. This Tomcat vendor, what they are doing? They are implementing it and they are supplying all these classes in servlet.api.jar. And this jar is actually present in, I have shown you actually when I gave the folder structure of Tomcat, there I had shown you very clearly. It is present in C drive, Tomcat, lib folder. See this? servlet.api.jar. So it is this jar file we need. So I'll copy this. Okay. And what I'll do is, see, most of the time we'll be writing a lot of projects and see, from now on we'll be writing a lot of Servlet projects. So when we write a lot of Servlet projects, what we do is, we'll be needing it every time. So instead of copying it from the same location every time, better what I'll do, you know the convention what we are following. I'll copy this and put it in a folder called as my jars. In my jars, here I'll create one folder by name Servlet jars. Understood now? I'll paste it here. You know why I'm doing this? Got it now? So whenever you need it, we'll be writing a lot of projects now. So whenever you need it, you don't have to go to Tomcat lib and get it. Directly from here only, you can get your servlet.api.jar file. So it has been kept here now. So maintain it. You also maintain it now. So one more thing. See, it is there. We know that that class is there in this jar file. So what I'll do, I'll copy this. Okay. And now I'll add it into my lib. I'm going to add it into my lib because my web application needs it. I'll add it. So now see in lib, it is present. servlet.api.jar. Now you do control space. You'll get the drop down. Understood how to debug? See, sometimes you'll be getting error and still you'll continue to code. Don't do that. First resolve the error and then move to next line of coding. That's the wrong way of coding. So that's what I'm showing you. When you get errors, how you debug. Clear? So import it. Fine, it is done. Clear? So now next. And here what you have to understand. See this, like this, why I added this, you got it now? Because that particular jar file is in the, that class is in this jar file, fine. Next, after that, what I have to do? I have to write the doGet method. HTTP control space, now you can do, you'll get the drop down. HTTP select request REQ, comma, HTTP select response, you'll get the drop down now. You can start typing now because you added the jar file. Select response, res, fine. Then this method throws what? Throws servlet exception, comma, IO exception, fine. So yes, this is how you will start coding now. Fine. Then the next thing what I will be doing is what? Response dot. I'm calling the methods of what now? HTTP servlet response. Set content type. Fine, simple. So what you'll do now? Text slash HTML. Done. Then next. See, print writer. PW is equal to response dot get writer. Fine. See now, we have started writing our web application. I have started coding it. I'm using so many classes here. Notice HTTP select request, HTTP select, all this I'm using. And now see how we are using the library, Java's library. On the top you see, I'm importing this class, means we are taking the help of Java's library. I use input output library, okay, Servlet library. So like this, when you write a web application, you'll use the support of all the Java libraries and then you'll start developing your web application. Understood? So just I clarified all these things for you now. So now it's all about output now. It's all about output. So to print now, what I'll do, pw dot, I have to write the HTML code now. Pw dot print ln so write the HTML code now. HTML, fine. Then next, close the HTML. Start writing HTML code. It's all about output now. And I told you, while you are giving a value to the attribute for HTML, in Java file you have to give it in single quotes. See this? You have to give it in single quotes. By chance, if you try to give it in double quotes, you start getting compilation errors. Understood? So that's the reason what you do. Put it in single quotes. Just understand that much. Okay. So whenever you write HTML code in Java files and you are giving a value to an attribute, use single quotes and give the value. Otherwise you will get compilation error. Then next, close the body. Then start writing your output. That's it. You know your output now. What? Hello world. We want to print. Okay. Hello world. And I'll print one more. Something like this is my first Servlet program. This is my first Servlet program. Okay, so done. If you want to display it in big fonts, just I'll use title fonts H1. So your program is ready now. Only one thing is pending. We have to write what? The XML file. If you write the XML file for mapping, that's it. Because when the URL is typed like that, you want this particular class to be executed. So for that, I have to write the XML file. See here, XML file has been generated for you now. Only what you have to do is write the code there. So let's see this. I open the web.xml. See this? Double click, it will open now. So once it opens, design would have been selected. Click on source. Click on source now. So now you'll get this screen. Done? See one more thing before I go to web.xml. So I'll come to firstservlet.java. In firstservlet.java, notice. See, I've written all your code. And if you want to see your code, you have to scroll like this, left and right now. Okay. So now this is not a good way. If you want to see the code, don't do that. Instead, what we do is we align our code. Okay. So Control A, Control Shift F you do. In Eclipse is one thing what we do. Means we will align all the code properly. Control A and Control Shift F. Control A, select all and say Control Shift F. It will format. So this is done now. Now it will be clearly visible. All your code will be in a single place and you will not have to scroll anything. Fine, that is okay. Same thing you do for what? Web.xml also. So that you will understand all the things clearly here. Control Shift F. Yes. So see, when the XML file is created by Eclipse, no, it is having some auto-generated code. This code is already generated. So what you have to do right now here is, see this here, web app tag is there. Just understand this carefully. Web app tag is there. That is okay. This is web app tag and this is web app tag. It's closed. Now here, see some things you might not be understanding. You don't have to worry. In few minutes I'll be explaining all this. So what you do is from the display name till welcome file list, you delete all this content. Understood? You delete all this content from the display name till welcome file list. You delete all this. Means finally I'm having only web.xml file, nothing else. Okay, and web app and web app. This is what I'm having. So here what you have to understand, some few things you have to understand. Okay. What you have to understand is, in the XML file, see, this is called as version number. The first line, this is very mandatory. Whenever you write XML file, the first line is mandatory. And the first line contains something called as version number. Now go with the basics. I told you, next we'll understand what is this web app and what is all this. Very simple. See, carefully understand, web app is the tag I need. Other tags, all tags I deleted. Whichever was there, I deleted it. So if web app is the tag, now this one. So understand from the markup language style. XML ns : exercise what? Attribute. Basically it's an attribute. And what is this? This is a value. Again XML NS is what? Attribute. What are these? Value. Same way, you got 4 attributes and some values. Basically you understand that much first. Now one more thing. See this, okay, after understanding that much, we call this as XML NS. It is called as namespace. XML NS is called as namespace. XML namespace we call it. Okay, and this XML namespace is used for validation purpose. Means if you have these attributes, okay, if you have these attributes only, you'll give what? You'll get what, you know, when you're typing an XML file, you'll get the drop down. Like you get the drop down for your Java file, no? Res dot and all that, you get the drop down. No, only if you have this only, then only you'll get the drop down for what? XML file. So that is how it will work. So if you want that, do it. And one more thing is, even the validation rules will be applied. Even the validation rules will be applied. Validation rules means, see this. Now we are having web app. Inside, you know how to code this now. Inside web app, under web app, what is the root tag? Servlet. Now under servlet, you should have what? Servlet name. So this is how it goes now. So servlet name is a child tag of servlet. Understood? So you should not use servlet name, what? Outside servlet. Yes or no? You are having servlet name and servlet class. 2 tags are there under. You have written the XML files. Check it out. So servlet name is a child tag of servlet, as well as servlet class is a child tag of servlet. You should not write these 2 tags outside it. That's how they have designed it. Okay, so it's very strict in XML. By chance, if you write outside, supposing I write servlet name outside, which one? Outside servlet, you'll start getting the error. So that is what is validation rules. And these validation rules means will be applied, and the only idea is what, you know, why you need that validation rules. Okay, the errors will be detected easily. If you have any errors in XML file, it will be shown to you. That is the only reason. So this validation means XML namespace is used for validation purpose, and it helps in what? It helps for detecting. These validation rules will be helping you what? It helps in detecting errors in XML file. That's all. Any XML, like if you, I'll show you now. When I code, you will only understand. Okay, so it helps in detecting errors in your XML file. That's it. Clear? So I show you that error. When it occurs, that time you'll understand. So that is why we'll retain that namespace. On the top, whatever is there now in web app, we'll retain it. Clear? So I start typing my XML file now. So let's see how you code now. So the child tag of web app is what now? Shall I delete all this? This I'll delete. So carefully see now how I type. So your see control means yes, I'll type control space. You are getting the drop down. If you have that namespace only, you'll get it. So I want what? Which one now? Servlet. Correct? Servlet, it will only open and close, so I'll start getting all this. Now see, it's reporting me an error. Why it's reporting me an error? Because I have not written the child tags of what? Servlet. Still I have not written, so that's why I'm getting this error. Carefully notice, I'll keep my mouse here to confirm for you. So now you can see, servlet name is expected. It's telling you the error. Understood? So like this, the validation rules will be applied. Understood? So that's the reason, retain it, it will be helpful for you. So now, anyway, I'll resolve that error, and those kind of errors slowly you'll understand. It's not that in one shot you'll understand, slowly you start understanding. So under servlet tag, next tag what I should have is what? Servlet. See this? Servlet name. Then next one more tag what I need is servlet class. Still I'm getting errors. Reason is what, you know, I have to give the values here. I have to give the values in what? For servlet name, servlet class and all. That's why it's giving me error. Fine, I'll resolve that error in a second. Now let's write the other tag. Which one? Servlet mapping. Servlet mapping, then next what? Under servlet mapping, next tag is what? Servlet name. One more tag would be URL pattern. Done. So all tags you have written. Now only what you have to provide is values. Yes or no? So let's start providing the values. See now all these values what you are going to give now for servlet name, servlet class here I will give now. So here first I will give the value for what? Servlet class. So I will give the claims here. See, don't type anything, copy, paste, otherwise it's subject to a lot of errors. com.cluster, copy it, and then what you do? Paste it here. Done? Then first select also, don't type one small spelling mistake, you will not get the error. Follow all these rules for while you are coding, otherwise it's subject to a lot of errors. com.cluster.first select, that is done. Now what is the name you want to give for this big name? You can give any simple name, like example is ABC. See, that error is gone now. For what? Servlet. Fine, next. Here, Servlet name. We will come back to Servlet name. So what is the URL pattern you are going to type now? /hello. You have to use slash, it's highly mandatory. /hello. And what is the Servlet name now? If the URL pattern is hello, what it should execute? ABC. So fine, give that value here. Done. So all errors are gone. So Control A you do again, Control Shift F you do. Now cleanly it will align. And you can see everything is clear here. Done. So this is your XML file. So this is how you code. See, it's all about two files, but you have to understand and code. That's the idea here. Fine. So once this is done, our web project is ready. Our web project is ready. But now you have to put it into what? Our web application is ready. Application is ready. Next, if you want to use it, you have to put it into the server only. Yes. So now which server I'll put now? I'll be putting it in Tomcat server. So now where you have to put in Tomcat server? I'd shown you the destination. You have to put it in C drive, Apache Tomcat, web apps. You have to put it here only. Yes or no? So last class I had given you this notes. In Tomcat, web applications should be deployed in what? In Tomcat, web applications should be deployed in, I'll just paste that path here, second. This web apps. Here only you have to put. It's a rule now. Done? So how do you put it now? Very simple. See how Eclipse will help you now. So for putting there, you don't have to copy, paste and anything. So just select your project. See, I'm selecting it. Okay. Then what you do? Right click. Just right click. Export you say. Go to web. Go to. Are you following now? I'm deploying now. What am I doing now? I'm putting my application into the server. So select the project. Right click. Web. Right. Select the project. Right click. Export. See this I'll do again. Select the project. Export. Web. WAR file, select. Understood? Then say next. Now here you have to put it into what? Browse the destination. Browse. Go to C drive. In C drive go to what? Tomcat. In Tomcat go to what? Web apps. And here see this file name myapp.war. So what do you do? Let it be there. Just say save and say finish. So that's it. What you have done now? Put your application into the server. It's a very simple process. If you want to put your, see, right now my project was in D drive. Understand? My project was in D drive. D drive, where my project was? Here. Ravi Kumar, here it was this place. So what did I do now? From here, I put this application into the server. That's what I did. Understood? And you can see it. If you go to web apps, you can see it now. Once again. Yeah, in web apps, you can see here. In fact, it is a compressed file. Myapp.war is a compressed. Okay, means it has been compressed. I'll extract it and show it to you in a while. Understood? But it is having this is our web application now. So application is deployed. Next, what you have to do? Make the request. That's all. You have coded 2 files. You have put it into the server. Just make the request. Your application is ready now. So open the browser. How do you make the request now? You type now. See, you have put your application into the server. Yes, but before you make the request, what you have to do? Start the server. So how will you start the server now? Go to, second I'll close all these things what is not required. So okay, see this. I'll go to start your server. Go to bin. You know how to start your server. Where will you go? Go to bin. Sorry, yeah, bin. And in there you say startup.bat. This is how Tomcat is started now. So once your Tomcat server is started, next what you have to do? You written your application, deployed it into the server. Only you have to make the request from the browser now. That's it. Open the browser. So the browser is the client to the server now. So make the request. http://localhost. What is the URL we are going to type now? 01 myapp / what? HELLO. That's it. Okay, just you have to type localhost 8090. I'll just, if it's not visible, I'll paste it for you. See here. You type that. So this is your URL now. Are you clear this URL? So this is the URL. Just type it in the browser, make the request. That's it. You get your first output of Servlet. So simple. You have developed a web application. Understood? So once this is done, okay, fine. You got the output. Now see, I'll give some more things now. See here, I want to make some changes. I want to print, this is my first Servlet program in the next line. Some changes like this you'll want when you develop your web application. Lot of changes will come. So whenever you want to make a change, yes, you can do it now. Again, let's see how to do the changes now. See here. What I'll do now, for getting that output, now I just have to put on BR. That's it. If I put on BR, like this, many changes will come. pw.println, what will I do? BR. That's it. You have made the changes. But you have made the changes where now? In D drive, Ravi Kumar, Servlet examples. So it has been done here. Now this change has not been updated in the application which is present in the server. That is a different one. It's a different copy. See this. In web apps you have got one copy now. This is a different copy. But I have made the changes where now? D drive. So now whenever you make changes like this, what you should do? If you want the new one to execute, you have to delete the old projects in the server and then put your application, the new application into the server. You have to deploy it again. Understood? So whenever you make changes, see this, follow the steps now. You have to delete the old ones and then put the new one into the server. So how do you do that? When you make changes, follow this. Good means shut down your server first. Control C, it is shortcut. Okay, Control C will shut down the server, or you can say shutdown.bat. You go to bin, and in bin you can say what? This bin is there now. Here you can click what? Shutdown.bat. Both will shut down the server. So first shut down the server. After you shut down the server, now you go to what? Web apps. So in web apps, what you do? Select myapp.war. One more folder is there. Notice my app. Okay, this is the folder. This is the file. So both the means that folder and this file, both you select. Only two. Don't select all. Okay, right click and delete it. Means delete both of them. Don't delete all. Otherwise your Tomcat will get corrupted. Only delete your project. Done. So once it is done, next what you have to do now? You have made the changes. Now this new project, you put it into the server now. New project. How will you put now? Same story. Right click, export. Next what? Var. Same thing. Next. Browse. Destination is what? Web apps. It's already selected. Simply click what? Save. And say finish. Now again you can see web app is there. The new one. The new updated one. Understood? So whenever you make any changes in your D drive or something, you have to delete the old one in the server and then put your new application. Okay, fine. Now carefully notice one more thing. myapp.war is there, but that folder is not there now. That myapp folder is not there. See what happens now. I'm going to start my server. This is my server. How will I start? See startup.bat. I'm starting the server. As soon as I start the server, notice in web apps that folder gets created. I didn't create it. This folder is automatically getting created. Means what is happening now? This myapp.war is there. No, it is a compressed file. As soon as you start the server, what will the Tomcat server do? It will take that compressed file and it will extract it. So it has extracted. Server is doing this automatically. So see this, I show you the extracted version of myapp.war. Okay. So myapp here inside myapp, what is there now? WebIF. Now look at that folder structure. That folder structure what I have written. Okay. So here myapp. Inside myapp, what is there? WebINF. Then next inside WebINF, what will you find? Classes and lib. See this, classes and lib. Now in lib, what will you find? Jar file. Yes, it is there. Now in classes, what will you find? Dot class files. Everything is there. So by the time your project went into the server, it is following the folder structure. Yes or no? So it is there. You don't have to worry. So now, more things what you have to understand. I'll come back and explain you that. So but let's make the request. I exported the war file and put it into the server. I started the server. More than that, I'll start the server and this which one? The server has extracted this. So next, see whenever you have made changes, close this browser. Okay, always close the browser and open the new browser now. Okay, open the new browser. So the new browser would be, see in the new browser what I am typing again, http://localhost What is it? What is our request? It is HELLO. That's it. As soon as I type hello, I can see the new one gets displayed. Understood? So any changes you do to your application, you have to follow this step. Understood? Delete the old one and then again export var you do, deploy it again and means shut down the server and do it. So what are the steps you will do now? If you make any changes, first shut down the server. Then next, after shutting down the server, what you will do? If you make any changes, follow these rules. Understood? Shut down the server. Next, delete the old project. Yes or no? In what? In web apps. That is server. Then again do what? Export var. Again do export var. Then last, start server and open again new browser and make request. So follow the steps when you make changes to your web application. Shut down the server. Clear? Delete the old project in web app server. Export var, start server, open new browser and make request. Definitely get the output now. So that is what is the concept here. So fine, all these things you understood. But now some things are cropping up. You are getting the doubt. What is that var file? Now we'll start saying, you got the output, leave the output. Some more things we'll start understanding here now. So what is that var file? That is one question. See this, var file. Okay, you have to understand the difference between jar and var. Jar and var. See, the full form of jar is Java Archive Files. That is the full form. Second. And the full form, and you have seen many jar files till now. Okay. Like example is, okay, this one full form. For var file, what is the full form? Web Archive Files. Simple word, they are compressed files, nothing else. See this is how they get the name. WAR, JAR. WAR is var, JAR is jar. So you have seen many jar files already. Example, rt.jar. This one you have seen. One more you have seen. Which one? ojdbc.jar. And one more you have seen. Servlet API.jar. Like that, many jars you'll see from now on. Now what do this jar file contain? They contain only dot class file. Pure dot class files it will contain. Means whenever you want to see in Java what happens now, when you are having a lot of classes now, if you want to give it to someone, generally what we do, we follow on convention. All the dot class files, we will keep it in one place, compress it. Okay, and that compressed file will give a name called as, any name you can give, like RT or OJDBC or Servlet API, but the extension what we follow is jar. That's the convention we follow internationally. So jar file always contains what? Dot class files. Are you clear with jar file now? So now let's understand what is var file. See, unlike jar, this var file contains what you know? All kinds of files. Like it will contain dot class files, it will contain dot class, mixture it is. It will contain dot class files, then it will contain HTML files, then it will contain XML files. Like this it will contain many types of files. So that is why our web project will contain all this HTML, XML and all that. So that is why our web projects will be compressed as what? var file. Understood? So that is what is happening. So what did Eclipse do now? It created one my app dot, sorry, what did the Eclipse do now? It created, when I said export var, it created one var file. Yes or no? So Eclipse is only doing that much. What is it doing? When you say export var, it will take the required folders, compress it into var file and put it into the server. That's all Eclipse is doing. When the server starts now, the server what it will do? It will extract it. So there are two things what you have to understand. One, what Eclipse is doing. One, the what the server is doing. So let's see it very clearly. Are you clear with this? So you got the difference between jar and var. This is also an important interview question. What is the difference between jar and var files? So jar contains pure.class, var contains other means web projects generally will be compressed as var files. Now let's see what that export var will do. See this again, I will redeploy, means I will delete the old project and I'll delete the old project, and what I'll do, I'll create the, I'll put the, means again I'll put the project into the, I'll deploy the project into the server. So I'll shut down the server. So then next I'll go to web apps, delete this K free apps or no, I'm deleting. Now see, again I'll say what, right click, what is the server, what is the Eclipse doing here, right click, export, what I'm doing, var, next, browse, yes I'll put it now, finish. So it is done, it is there in my web apps now, see that? So as soon as, that's all Eclipse is doing. Now as soon as I start the server, see what happens. I'll go to server, startup.bat, it should be very fast. See that my web got created. Understood? So it is extracting. So that server is extracting, leave that. I will also extract that var file for you and show you, just for your confirmation. I'll copy this, okay, see what I'll do now. New folder, lab, delete. Just for your confirmation I'm doing it. Lab delete. So I'll paste it here. Now I'll export this. I am doing it explicitly. 7-zip, extract to my app. See this. That's got extracted. Now what is there in this? You can see my app. What is there now? WebINF. Inside WebINF, classes, lib, web.xml. So what is the folder structure you want? That is there. So what is Eclipse doing? Clearly understand. So when you say export var, what is Eclipse doing? Clearly understand. It will take the required folders. It will not take all the folders. There are so many folders here. So whatever required folders are there, it will take it. Understood? Then it will create that particular folder structure and compresses it, and then it will put it into the server. That is what is Eclipse doing. Export var, that is what is happening. Are you clear? Required folders it will take. Selected folders means what it will select? Only a WebINF. Web content it's not selecting. So whatever is required it will take only that much, and then it will create this folder, compress it, and it will put into the server. That's it. So it is deployed as var file. Finally what will happen? When you start the server, Tomcat will extract it. Fine. What are the case? We have our application in the server now. Right now we are having the application in the server. So it is deployed. You don't have to worry. It is there in web app. See that? So now you can make the request. How do you make the request? Open the browser. Okay. So I'll open a new browser again. Just see this. I'll open the new browser, make the request. You got the output. Done? This is how it's going to work now. Okay. Still some more things we'll see here technically clearly how things are getting executed. I'll explain you how the flow happens now. Output you got, but little in detail we'll go and see how we are getting this particular output now. See this now. Let's come to the project here. See now we have put our project into the server. Yes or no? So which is the server we are using here? Let's see the flow now. Let's see the output how you are getting now. See this is the application you have put into the server. Which server? JEE server. And the server what I am using is Apache Tomcat. Getting it now? Fine. And next, see this. You will open after putting your application or after deploying your application into the server. Next what you are doing is, see this clearly understand, I am showing you diagrams. http://localhost 8090/myapp/hello. This is what you are typing. Understood? So when the browser is making this request, what will the browser do now? See, that's how the flow goes. HTTP localhost. It will go to the machine. It will search in the same computer. It's stimulated environment now. Browser, server are all in the same computer. So it's a stimulated environment. Localhost. Okay, the request is going now. And in localhost it will go to what? Port number 8090. 8090 is nothing but what? The port number of Tomcat. So it will go to connect to Tomcat now. After going to Tomcat, it will go to what? My app, your application. And then it will go to it has reached the destination, which are now my app. Let's start seeing now. So this is the request you have done now. See the flow now very clearly. So this is the request made by which one? Browser to server. This is the request. Fine. Once the request is handed over to the server, what will the server do? Carefully notice now. First thing what the server do will, this is the first step. The server will hand over the request to what? The application, my app. So from my app, straight away it will go to web-inf. This is the second step. See how the control is moving in your application. Okay. So then next, from web-inf, straight away again the control moves to what? Third step, web.xml. So this is how the control will move now. So from my app it goes to web-inf, web-inf it goes to web.xml. So here the URL mapping will be identified. This is where the URL mapping will happen now. Understood? So means for hello, what is the servlet? It should execute, name it will check now, ABC. So now again it will start searching ABC, which is the servlet by name, ABC. So it will find first servlet is the name, ABC, and it will execute this. So from here, see, once the class is identified, again control shifts to what? Classes folder. So in the classes folder, what will happen? That first servlet is there now. So that will be, object of that class would be created. Internally it will happen, you don't worry. So once the object of that class is created, what will happen? The output also you will get, the doGet method will get executed. Once it is executed, next what will happen? The entire content of that is written to the socket. That's what I was telling you. Understood? So once it is written to the socket, what is written to the socket actually? Means the pw.println, the duty of println is to write it to the socket. So once it is written to the socket, it's a normal HTML file now. That's it. The duty of println is to print to the socket, not to the client. Okay, so it will be writing it to the socket. So once it is written to the socket, now from the socket, TCP IP will ensure that it is reaching the correct destination. This is what happens. And once it reaches the destination, see, this is a socket connection. This is a virtual connection which was established between the client and the server. Virtual connection has been established. So now it will come now. The TCP IP will bring all that file now. How it will bring? TCP will break that file into small packets and transmits it via network. Okay, and it also ensures that all the packets are reaching error free. Understood? And after reaching the destination, what it will do? It will give it as one single unit to the client. This is what I told. Understood? And after, it will be giving it as a single unit. Now TCP will take care of that. What is IP helping? IP ensures that all the packets are reaching the correct destination. So both play together. So when anyway that the HTML content has been delivered, file has been delivered to your browser now. Now any browser in the world can interpret and display that HTML file now. That is the process. So we got the output. I just technically explained you how this is happening now. Are you clear with this? So fine. The same I'll show you now. Notice. And this diagram still I will be giving you very clearly in the next class. You don't have to worry about this. Understood? Just basically one rough idea I am giving you how the flow is happening here. So yes, see this, what we have done, we coded using what? Eclipse, and after coding in Eclipse, I put it into the server, I deployed it into the server. Then I have started the server. After starting the server, what I do? I'll make the request from the browser. See now I'll make the request from the browser. Carefully notice. So I'll type http ://localhost. Done? Okay. So then I'll type localhost 8090. Like this you can type. Okay. After typing this, say I'm making a request. Done? See this. Once I make the request, I'm getting the output. See now, here you do right click, view source you do now on the browser. You can see this entire content here now. So what is the browser doing or client doing? It is receiving this content and just interpreting this and displaying it. Nothing else it is doing. Clear? So that's how the code goes on getting executed. So fine, this is one user. Similarly you can open what? Chrome browser also. I'll show you in Chrome now. See this. HTTP, same you can type / localhost 8090. Okay, press enter. Same thing will get displayed now. View source. Here also what's happening? View page source. You can see this content. So all clients will go on making a request to the servlet. So the servlet what it will do, it will write it to the socket. From the socket it is pushed to the client. Now TCP IP will bring the content and give it to the client. Now any browser will interpret it and display it to the user. This is the entire process. Are you clear this flow now? Yes. So most of the things are getting cleared for you. Now, to make you very comfortable in mapping, I'll give you one more example. Only one thing is pending now. For mapping, I'll do one more means, I'll just give you some more comfortable in mapping, means what is that XML file. So let's do one more thing now. What I'll do is, shall I clear this now? So you got the flow now, how it is working? You'll type now. You'll come to my app. It will go to WebINF. From WebINF it goes to web.xml. It will identify. From there it will come to classes. Object, that class will be taken. Object of that is created. That logic will execute. Whatever logic it will write it to the socket. So then from there to your TCP IP will bring it. Clear this? Yes. So now, see, you got, till now you have written only one file. But definitely web applications will have many files now. Means I am giving you one more example for you to make you understand what? That mapping, how it works. How do you write that mapping file and all that. So one more I'll take now. Just see this now. So to make you understand mapping, I'll take one more example. I'll write the second servlet. So I'll write the second servlet and put it into the server. But to execute servlet, second servlet, we'll make the request as hi. Means in the URL, I'll type it as hi. If hi is typed now means HTTP localhost, which one? 8090/myapp/hi. If I type, I want second servlet to execute. So let's see what you do for that. So clearly see now, the URL would be see what is the URL we are going to type now? Hi. And if hi is typed, okay, this is the URL. I want one more program to execute, second servlet. Like this you'll have many resources in your application. When you are having a web application now, you'll be having many files or many resources. Done? So now see, second servlet should execute. But for this one, which servlet should execute? First servlet. That is the requirement now. And second servlet will print some other logic. Let's see how to do it now. So what I'll do now, I'll go to, again same story. You go to com.cluster, see this, new class you do. And the name of the class would be what now? Second servlet. You can give any name. So I am giving it as second servlet. Finish. So fine. It should extend what? Extends HTTP. Now you'll get the drop down. Because I already added the jar. So say enter, you'll get it. Now, last program, how did I type? I typed public void do get full. I went on typing now. See the power of Eclipse now. You don't have to type everything from the scratch. Just to type do get. That's it. Just to type do get. Okay, and type do get you type. And type control space. You get this drop down. Just press enter. All the code will be generated now. See the power of Eclipse. Understood? All the code will be generated. So whatever is extra there, okay, you can delete all this. Override or something like this. Some comment. Some 3 lines will get extra. Means you just delete it now. And one more small change what you have to do is change protected to public. That's all you have to do now. So this class is ready now. All you have to do is what? Write your code now. See, hardly you are writing 2 files or 1 file. That also how much editor is supporting. See now. Look at the facility what the developer is getting. You got on standard API, you got a built-in server. On top of that, how powerful editors you got. So hardly developer is doing anything here for writing a web application. See this. And one more thing, just what you do, HTTP servlet response is there now. Here you got a variable by name RESP. So what you do, that you can change it to RES, whatever name you want. You generally keep it as RES. That's up to you, whatever name you want you do. So now start coding. RES dot set what? Content, same story now. Content type. What you will type? Text slash HTML. Same story. Then next what? You want to print means you want what? Print writer. PW is equal to response dot get writer. Like this. You can go on typing now. Next all is about output. That's it. So for doing output you have to write what? Again some more HTML code. So that HTML code I'll copy paste. You can type it on your own. So I'll just copy paste from the previous program. Okay, and you can make changes, whatever changes you want here. So I want to print something like, see this I don't want to print, fine, this is not required. I'll change the color to red, any color like this you can change, and I'll print like this. I am great, I got my first output of Servlet. Like this you can type anything, that's your wish, any message you want you can do it, fine. So once this is done, your program is ready, correct? Program is ready, but what you have to do? You have to do the mapping. Without doing the mapping, this program will not execute now. So clear. So for doing the mapping, see what I'll do now. You have to again go to web.xml. Now you already got these tags. When you got these tags, now don't type. Follow all this. Simply don't sit and type. You'll waste time. And also it's subject to a lot of errors. Blindly copy it if you already got it. Understood? Paste it. Understood? Now see this. I'll just remove all this. Let's see how I'll go on giving the values now. Again for this. So you got the tags now. Only what you have to do? You have to fill the values. So first, Servlet class, what you will give? I have to give second Servlet now. So select, copy and paste, don't type anything. com.cluster dot what? Second Servlet. Okay, what is the name you want to give? You can give any name, X, Y, Z, like this. Understood? Fine. Now what is the URL pattern you are going to type? HAI, hi. Yes, if it is hi, now it should execute which Servlet now? Second Servlet now. Fine. But what is the name you have given? XYZ. So give that name here. Done? So carefully see the mapping how it works. See, if it is hi, it should execute the Servlet by name XYZ. Now which is the Servlet by name XYZ? This one. So it will execute second Servlet. If it is hello, it should execute Servlet by name what? ABC. And this is on ABC and it will execute this. You might think, if you want to have still more clarity on this, I'll just arrange it properly, then you'll start understanding it very clearly. What I'll do is, I'll put all the Servlets in one side and all the mappings I'll do it in one side. This convention, it's up to you. Understood? So now see, this is one Servlet, this is one Servlet, this is one mapping, this is another mapping. Getting it now? So you're only following some convention, nothing else. So this is one Servlet, and the name of the Servlet is what? ABC. The class for that is first Servlet. Now this is another Servlet. The name of this Servlet is XYZ, like this. Now this is mapping now. So keep all Servlets in one place, keep all mappings in another place. Now it becomes very clear. See this. If the request comes URL as hi, it should execute the Servlet by name what? XYZ. Now whose Servlet is name XYZ? It will start searching here. Here you have got Servlets now. So whose Servlet is name XYZ? This one. Means it will see, is this the one? No. Is this the one? Yes. Now it will execute second Servlet. If it is hello, if the URL request comes as hello, it has to execute the Servlet by name ABC. So now it will start searching here, Servlets. So whichever it finds, it will start executing now. So this is the actual flow. Are you clear with this? So very simple. So just I arranged it. If you arrange it, automatically you start understanding it. Clear? So you also maintain the same standard. It will be helpful for you. Yes, we have written our code. Fine. But this changes whatever I have done is still happening in what? D drive Ravi Kumar folder. It's still not updated in the server. So whatever changes you have done for your web application, okay, whenever you do a change for your web application, it's not updated in the server. So now what you have to do? You have to deploy it in the server again. So what do you have to do for deploying now? Tell the steps. I've given you 5 steps. If you make any changes to your application, what will you do? So first you have to shut down the server. So you finished coding. You have to deploy it. Shut down the server. Next what you have to do? Go to web apps. Delete it. Both the one file and one folder. Both you delete. After deleting it, next what you do? Right click. Export. Same process, browse. Okay, say save, finish. Now you can go and see in web apps. What is there? Only WAR file is there. Now you start the server. So you go to bin and say startup.bat. That's it. Automatically you can say my app has been extracted. Your project is ready now, or your application is ready now. Just make the request now. Say I'll make the request. Open the new browser. Better always. It's better you open the new browser. Any changes you do, open new browser. http://localhost. Yes, if the URL is hello, understood? See what it will display. It will execute your first servlet. But if the URL is hi, see this carefully, it is executing the second servlet. Understood? So there are two resources. Which resource you want to execute? That URL you type now. Hello means it will execute first servlet. Hi means it will execute second servlet. So that's how it goes on now. Not only here, I'll copy this and I'll see. I'll show it in Chrome browser for you. I'll open Chrome. Says I paste that path. Okay, press enter. It is displaying hi. I typed. I mean to say I typed hi. It is displaying that. Means another client. Think Chrome is another client. He'll make the request for what? Hello. First servlet is getting executed now. So that is how they will go on making the request and the server will go on responding now. Clear this? So now what did you understand? Everything is clear. So these two files what I wrote, first servlet and second servlet, are actually what? Server side Java programs. If you want to execute this file, you have to make the request from where? Browser only. If you want first servlet to get execute, you have to make the request from browser only. I will give you some definitions. Okay, that is what I will explain you now. Some definitions I given in the last class. Are you clear with this output now? So that's how the mapping works. Nothing more here. So done. So in the last class I had given you some definitions. What all I told you? Means at the beginning of the class also I told you. What did I tell you? Java is a programming language. Yes or no? Now summarize. At the beginning of the class I told something. Java is a programming language. Servlet is what? Web technology. Means it helps you to develop what? Web technology which helps you in developing web application. What is JEE? It is a platform. Understanding no? So yes, I use Servlet technology now for developing my web application. So your Servlet technology is helping you in what now? It is helping you in what? Some features. Means why do you use Servlet technology now? Because it is used for developing web application, agreed. But what are the features it is providing you? Or what are the advantages of using Servlet? That's the question here. So Servlet technology will help you in all this. See this now. You have written this down in the last class. So your Servlet technology is giving you web support. Web support means what? Your application can accept the web request and it can give what? Web response. Default, built-in. We didn't write any single line of code for what? Web support. Means here actually one protocol is required, HTTP. One communication is happening between what? Client and server. About HTTP I'll tell you in next class. Okay. But the client is making a request now and the server understands that request and gives back the correct response. Understood? So that is why we are getting the web support from whom now? Servlet technology. It is giving you that support. Next, I told you on flow. Client will make the request and it will go to the server. Server will give back the response. All that I told you. Fine. That is what? Input, output, networking and all that. Who is giving you all this support? Servlet technology. So all this support is coming to you what? Built in now. We are not even writing one single line of code. So that's what these people are telling. Write your code whatever you want. Okay. And put it into the server. Rest all whatever infrastructure support you need. That will be provided to you. By whom now? The platform. JEE platform or technology like this. Understood? So this is the actual story of web application. So to develop a web application, the life of the developer has been made so simple today. Because they are giving you technology, understood, they are giving you platforms. That's what I am making you try to understand. See this. Now, the main features and advantage of Servlet technology. Last class you wrote it and see the few points now. It is giving you a web support. Yes. Then next, it is a standard API for developing web application. That is one more beauty of it. Earlier one vendor was giving what? One API and one folder structure, something and all he was giving. Very confusing for the developer. But now what? One standard API and one standards, we have got one standard now. Okay. So write your web project and put it into any server. That is the meaning of this. So that is why we use Servlet. Are you following now? It provides you a standard API for developing what? One web application. Then next, it helps you in what? Input output. It helps you in networking. So you can see all these 4 support now. And all these 4 things I have shown you with what? Example. Theoretically we had understood everything. But now we are seeing all this with the help of example. Done? So fine. These all features also I will explain you. With examples only I will explain. Theoretically I have told you. Okay. Theoretically I have told you. Okay, theoretically I have told you, but all this will be seen more with examples now. Are you clear with this? Fine. Now, what exactly we have done till now? See, what exactly we have done till now is, I'll tell you this. Till now what we have done is, we wrote a web application. I wrote a web application. Yes or no? We wrote a web application. After writing the web application, what did I do? How did I write it? I wrote it using Servlet API. Clearly understand what I did do. After writing it using Servlet API, finally I put it into what? The JEE server. This is what I did now. So if you do this much, you'll get the output. Understood? So now, you code this project, what I showed you for now. Okay. And you might get some errors. Some errors here and there you might get. Those errors or some doubts you might get, those whatever you get, I'll be clarifying that in the next class. But try getting the output. That is mandatory now. Clear? So, and one last thing I'd like to tell before I close the class. See, your project might have any number of servlets. You might have 1 servlet or 2 servlet or 3 servlets. That is irrespective. But finally, your project will have only one web.xml file. That's one last thing. Understood? I wrote how many servlets now? First servlet, second servlet I wrote. But your entire project will have only one web.xml file. This is very important now. Understood? And the entire information about all your class will be kept in XML file. Okay, that is metadata, information. Yes? So that is what you have to understand. Are you clear with what you have done all this? See this, which one now? Web.xml. I wrote first servlet. I wrote second servlet. You try writing third servlet today. Understood? But finally, I am having only one web.xml. And all this has been, all the mapping you are doing in a single XML file. Understood? Try doing it. Some doubts you might get. Next class I will be clarifying that for you. Yeah, I know you will get it. You don't have to worry. Next class I will be clarifying it. So that's it about this class.